There must be at least one emergency coordinator available at all times. They may either be at the facility or on call, as long as they are available to respond quickly in the event of an emergency. These emergency coordinators must be thoroughly familiar with all aspects of facility activities and operations, contingency plans, location and characteristic of waste, and location of records. The emergency coordinator must also have the authority to commit resources needed to carry out the contingency plan. Whenever there is an imminent or actual emergency, the emergency coordinator should activate the emergency alarm or communication system and notify local and state response agencies. They should also identify the nature, source, and amount of released materials and assess possible hazards to human health and the environment. During the emergency coordinator must take any appropriate measures to minimize the extent of the emergency, such as shutting off processes, closing valves, collecting and containing waste, and removing and isolating containers that could be affected by the emergency. When the emergency is over, the emergency coordinator must arrange for cleanup and management of the waste and make sure that all equipment is cleaned and maintained so it can be put back in service. After the emergency, the owner or operator of the facility must notify the proper authorities before operations resume in the affected areas and must submit a written report with details of the incident to the regional administrator. Each LQG must have a contingency plan which includes the following: a description of the actions the facility personnel will take in the event of any unplanned release of hazardous materials, the arrangements agreed to by local police, fire, and hospitals, a list of names, addresses, home and office phone numbers of all people who are qualified to act as the emergency coordinator, a list of all available emergency equipment and where it is kept, and a complete evacuation plan. The contingency plan must be reviewed and updated immediately whenever there are changes to regulations, phone numbers, equipment, emergency coordinators, the building, process, construction, or operation that may either increase the possibility of a release or affect the response to an emergency release. LQGs are required to provide general and job-specific training to their employees. Employees must be trained how to effectively respond to emergencies, including any applicable emergency procedures, emergency response equipment, and emergency systems. Employees must also know how to implement the company contingency plan. Training must be provided by a person trained in hazardous waste management procedures and completed no later than 6 months after initial employment or assignment to a new job. Employees may not work unsupervised until the training has been completed. There are numerous training-related documents a large quantity generator must develop and maintain. See 40 CFR 265.16 for details.